بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أفضل الصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Today we are participating in the 15th International Halal and Tayyib Products Conference, which is initiated and held by GİMDES. Special thanks to Professor Hussein for his dedication to the halal cause, as he has been always a leader in that part. A special thank you to the whole team that is working in GİMDES, contributing to the halal cause. Okay, my lecture today is about scientific understanding of istihala for ensuring halal integrity, and I'm going to put a highlight on gelatin and blood plasma as exemplary case is to clarify the issues and what is happening in terms of istihala and our understanding for istihala. I'm going to go through our objectives for this lecture, and then I'll cover istihala in the literature and istihala in the fatwa councils. And then I'll go through the example of gelatin and blood plasma, if they are fit or not fit for the case of istihala, as some may consider them as part of the istihala, and then I'll come to the conclusion. Our objectives are to align Islamic principles with contemporary scientific understanding of istihala, ensuring the halal integrity of products in the food, medicine, and cosmetic industry, and we will give gelatin and blood plasma will be employed as illustrative cases for this purpose. A scientific understanding of istihala is essential in combating adulteration for several compelling reasons. If we talk about the complexity of modern industry, and that is the case including the food, pharmaceutical, and cosmetics, it's often involved an intricate process and formulation with numerous ingredients. Understanding of istihala allows for us to evaluate of these processes and the products involved. The second reason, as we put it here, preventing fraudulent practices. And this is very, very important. Adulteration involves the intentional addition of non-compliant or substandard substances to products. A scientific understanding of istihala provides a clear frameworks for distinguishing between permissible and impermissible substances, make it more difficult for parties to engage in fraudulent practices. A third reason is protecting consumer trust. And consumer trust is very, very important. Consumers, especially those seeking halal certified product, really on regulatory bodies and certifying authorities to ensure the authenticity of their purchases. Ensuring religious compliance, and that entails adulteration can inadvertently lead to the consumption of non-halal or haram substances, which goes against the religious beliefs and dietary practices of Muslims. We have also one of the reasons we are into globalizations and supply chain complexity, and that in today's environment, raw material and components may come from various sources. A scientific approach to istihala allows for a more comprehensive assessment of the entire supply chain, ensuring compliance with halal standards. Regulatory compliance, this is more go to the regulatory bodies responsible for overseeing the production and distribution of halal products, often require a scientific assessment to ensure adherence to halal standards. Addressing ethical concern, that is we consider very important, because adulteration can involve unethical practices such as the use of harmful and unsafe substances. A scientific understanding of istihala helps identifying and rectify such practices. Fostering innovation. A robust scientific understanding of istihala encourages research and innovation in the development of new products and processes that comply with halal standards. This, in turn, can lead to a wider range of halal certified options for consumers. In the Islamic literature, the reality is that Islamic literature lacks an established definition of istihala from a contemporary scientific, chemical, and industrial perspective, which is essential for current understanding efforts. Rather, the literature characterized certain processes as istihala through qiyas, in accordance with the prevailing knowledge of that era, which can make things complex, because the more we understand the chemical process here, the more we get closer to the reality and closer to the understanding of istihala. Qiyas that we have just mentioned is the process of deductive analogy in which the teaching of the hadith are compared and contrasted with those of the Quran in order to apply knowledge injections and nas to a new circumstances and create a new injections. So the qiyas is a highly specified chapter of Islamic jurisprudence, the fiqh, and this takes us to a situation that we need our fuqaha who gives the fatwa and who apply qiyas. They need to have scientific knowledge about the situation in order to avoid deviation from the reality. So that would sort of help in producing accurate fatwa. Istihala in the literature varies. At the time, istihala is a change of a substance that causes transformation from its nature to another nature. Istihala, in the common scientific terms, refers to any chemical reaction that transforms a substance to another compound as a type of transformation of a substance to another substance. The example to this, the transformation of oil and fat, regardless of their origin, to become soap. This is from Dr. Hawari's site, or not a site as online site, but from the literature. That's how Dr. Hawari defined istihala. Examples of istihala: burning of najis until it becomes ash, like mutajajjis wood or dung or wastes. No protein or DNA can be found in ash. I'm bringing this in particular about protein and DNA because what we are going to illustrate at a later time on this lecture, and in the middle of the lecture, we're gonna talk about gelatin, which is a protein, and we're gonna talk about blood plasma and how we relate each example of istihala to that. So I repeat that no protein or DNA can be found in ashes because of the burning process. Oxidation, process of making vinegar, transformation of wine to vinegar. Fermentation, another example, which is the change of grapes or dates to wine. Basically, the sugars, carbohydrates, sugars, change to fermented, actually, to a wine. And then the decomposition of living material in soil to become fertilizers. And I'll talk about this in details and what a plant can absorb. The fall of a substance into another substance, so it decomposes and gets consumed, and that is the istihlak in Arabic. The example of this in a specific, donkey or pig, which fell in salt land and turned into salt. That is more of illustration to the to decomposition. The common denominator, in fact, the denominator action between the above example is chemical changes to the substance. Okay, and we have to remember the full chemical changes because in the previous definitions of istihala, if I go back to that, what it says here in the last sentence example, the transformation of oil and fats, regardless of their origin, to become soap. So we have to put the question mark on the turning into soap. And does the oil or the fat transform completely? Because in the case of soap, we have a process of saponification, and that sometimes it depends on the reaction of the material that we add, which is the potassium hydroxide, and we don't get full reactions, so we leave some of the oil or the fats in the soap without it being transformed. So we have to make sure that the full transformation takes place in order to apply the istihala on it. Okay, I brought this as an example to explain the natural decomposition of organic matter into nutrient-rich fertilizer for plant. So we have whatever we have in terms of proteins or material. The plant, in fact, do not absorb proteins such as those in the blood or meat because they are complex compounds, rather than the plant absorb salts. Okay, and the reality is that, as you can see here, the plant absorb in terms of minerals in their ionic compounds, sorry, in their ionic formula, but the plant cannot absorb the chain of the, for example, a chain of DNA or protein. So that is a good example how the material would be decomposed in the soil and absorbed. So we are talking about uh, about uh, full chemical transformation in this case. So the following changes cannot be considered as istihala. What are they? Evaporation, condensation, grilling, baking, dough making, grinding, separation of components based on their physical density. And when we come to this typical example would be blood. Change of a name based on position or condition. So changing the name is not good enough to call it istihala. So even if it is partial chemical changes and change of a name, that doesn't apply to the definition of istihala. So if we go to istihala of pig originated material in the fatwa, pig derived products are not acceptable as being halal regardless to the transformation status. Unity in the opinion of some fiqh council and halal certifying bodies in Pakistan, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. They take that sort of approach. And this is a fatwa that is being signed by Sheikh Abdulaziz bin Baz, Sheikh Abdul Razak Afifi, Sheikh Abdullah bin Ghadian, and Sheikh Abdullah bin Qaoud. It says that if a Muslim became assured or in a high doubt that any of pig's meat, fat, or bone powder enters in a food, medicine, toothpaste, or the like of it, it is forbidden to eat, drink, or rub it on the body. It's very, very clear. These scholars clarify. What is doubtful should be left away. In reference to the hadith, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, leave that which makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. And this fatwa is very clear. So what we have in Arabic, the decision of the Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami al-Dawli, the International Islamic Fiqh Academy decision 11-3 in 1986 in Arabic says لا يحل للمسلم استعمال الخمائر والجيلاتين المأخوذ من الخنازير في الأغذية. It is not permissible for a Muslim to use yeast and gelatin that is derived from pork in food. Very clear clarification. Another clarification, another sort of clarification from the International Islamic Fiqh Academy, and that is in 2013. الاستحالة في الاصطلاح الفقهي تغير حقيقة المادة النجسة أو المحرم تناولها وانقلاب عينها إلى مادة أخرى مختلفة عنها في الاسم والخصائص والصفات، ويعبر عنها في المصطلح العلمي الشائع بأنها كل تفاعل كيميائي كامل complete. So استحالة in the fiqh terms, an actual change in any pure substance, najis, or that which is forbidden to be consumed, so to be transformed to another substance, which is different in name and nature, name and natural character. So it is here very clear. It has to be full chemical, complete chemical reaction to change this matter. While we mentioned earlier the case of khanzir in specific, anything is not acceptable. So debatable question. This is theoretical. If we for those who say that istihala can be accepted if the source is pig, basically. What we say to such opinion: is it acceptable in Islam to farm pigs and use the concept of istihala to produce products such as proteins or minerals, etc., etc.? Okay. Now, the scientific advancement in and technology, actually, they can produce protein powders, put it in a name of whatever names, change the name. So the verdict on this would be not acceptable when you start the material from pigs. So the istihala is the natural transformation. Okay, and we gave the example of the earlier. The natural transformation of a substance to a new substance through complete chemical reaction. Complete chemical reaction. The new substance is different from the original substance in its name, physical, and chemical properties. So if we move on to the example that that we are going to go through, which is the collagen and gelatin. Collagen comprises a diverse group of proteins sourced from various animal components like hide, skin, and bones. Its structure is composed of three intertwined polypeptide chain, creating a triple helical micromolecules, as you can see it in the structure here. These are the three the three helical micromolecules. The chain, and it goes in this. It goes actually like this structure. While gelatin is a pure natural protein that is produced by heat treatment of collagen proteins extracted from animal source. The traditional production of gelatin from different raw materials is a complex process that requires a lot of chemical, water, and energy, as well as long processing time. Okay, now the center of this is that the protein can be traced back to the source. If the gelatin is sourced from pigs, so we know that it is sourced from it. So there is no changes, full chemical changes. It is a heat treatment for the changes. So this is illustration of the collagen change to gelatin, and that shows the triple helix with the case with the collagen, and through acid-base hydrolysis and heat. So these helix, sort of a chain of uh, proteins, basically, they will be separated, and that is the case of the gelatin. So we have water molecules. Here you can see them clear. This is the heat sort of reactions, and this sort of a process shows the change from collagen to gelatin. So the process is like this: raw material, bovine hide and bones, porcine skins and bones, fish skin and scales, poultry, other marine sources can be used as raw material, and through pre-treatments, that's removal of non-collagenous protein, removal of fat, demineralization, swelling of collagenous matrices, and through hot water extraction. This is a batch process, continuous process, semi-continuous process, and then you have a recovery from through the filtration and the clarification, deionization, sterilization, and then drying. That is the final product, which is gelatin. So this is the process from start to finish. The conclusion about gelatin in relation to istihala: gelatin is formed as a result of cooking animal hide or bone. No chemical changes that has happened to satisfy the requirements of istihala. We move on to blood plasma. Blood plasma is a pale yellow liquid component of blood that normally holds the blood cells in suspension. This makes plasma the extracellular matrix of blood cells. It makes up about 55% of the body's total blood volume. So it has 91.5% water, 7% proteins, other material like sugar, urea, hormones, vitamins, 1.5%. This this video shows illustrate exactly what is happening in the case of the separation of plasma. Let us watch and listen.
You can separate components of a solution such as plasma and red blood cells from a sample of blood. In a lab, tubes of blood are loaded into a centrifuge in pairs. Samples are loaded in opposite positions to help balance the centrifuge. The spinning forces the heavier components, such as red blood cells, to separate from the plasma solution and collect at the bottom of the tube.
So it is a clear explanation on this. It is centrifugation of the process, which separate the plasma from the solid material or the other material, which is the blood cells, the white blood cells, white blood cells, red cells, and the platelets from the plasma. That is actually what happens in the industry when when we collect, the industry collect, I don't collect myself, when the industry collects blood and process it to produce plasma, blood plasma that would be used in the various industries, such as the food industry or the pharmaceutical industry, or even to the with the cosmetics industry. This is a reality. I brought some statistics here about the volume. Say, if we look at China's production of pig blood, okay, China slaughters 600 million pigs a year. This produces 1,500,000 tons of blood. This is equivalent in protein terms, which is this is the economy, and this is how important it is in terms of the use of such protein. The protein value is about 2 million tons of this blood, and this is equivalent to 2,500,000 metric tons of eggs. So it is not going to be thrown away. It has to enter either the food supply chain or other industries. This is a reality, and this is what is happening. When we look at pig slaughterhouses, they enter. This is example. Perhaps not every slaughterhouse is doing this, but this is example of slaughterhouses that has got a high production. So pigs enters a gas chamber. Gas is injected, which cause them to either die or cause them to be stunned in what we call it gas stunning. So pigs are stunned by gas, then pushed to conveyor belt, and this is the conveyor belt. And then the conveyor belt takes them to a place where they are hanged, okay? And this picture showing a blood sucking pipes with knives inserted. So the knife is inserted in this area, in the neck area, to the veins, to the blood pipes, and then start to suck. Basically, it's like you're milking milk from animals. Basically, this picture shows how it is done, and then the blood. This is the blood collection from pigs after stunning with CO2 gas. Sometimes they use different gases, not just CO2. Perhaps other gases can be used, and have this collected and then to be processed and used for a human consumption. So after this process that we have seen, there is a separation feed tank. This is the separation feed tanks, which we explained earlier, and then that is a separator transfer system, and then we have duplex hemoglobin cooler. We have a storage tank for plasma. We have a storage tank for hemoglobin. and we have another systems that involve in this process. Okay, that's the production line of a separation of a blood components, and you can look at it in details in this site. Yeah. So one of the products that is interesting to have a look at, this is what we call beta glue. Beta glue is an enzyme, a transglutamine, and this is composed of thermobine and fibrobine obtained from blood plasma. Okay, it's a powder and used in the industry, in the meat industry. They use like what you have the meat parts that are not not in a prime. Yeah, I mean, it's not the prime cuts. Basically, the meat industry, we produce prime cuts that goes for the steaks, for the restaurants, and so on. But we have bits of meat that sometimes what we do, we mince it to use it in the various products in restaurants. But these bits or the small sizes of meat can be stuck together using this meat glue to produce these pieces or steak-like material. Shows like prime cuts, basically. So understanding of Istihala at the Fiqh Council again on blood plasma. Blood plasma, which is a cheap alternative to egg white, may be used in part. That is part of the International Islamic Fiqh Academy up to 2013, and this definition was previously about the same definition before. So it defines a blood plasma, and from the fiqh point of view at that time, which is, it says blood plasma, which is a cheap alternative to egg whites, may be used in pies, soups, sausages, hamburgers, and pastries and biscuits, pudding, bread, dairy products, and medicines for children and their food, which also may be added to flour, are halal. It is different from blood in the name, characteristics, and qualities. It has different ruling than that of blood. In Arabic, that's exactly what it says in that decision at that time in November 2013. That's how مجمع الفقه الإسلامي الدولي, which is International Islamic Academy, considered. blood plasma الدم التي تعتبر بديلا رخيصا لزلال البيض، وقد تستخدم في الفطائر والحساء والنقانق والهمبرجر وصنوف المعجنات كالكعك والبسكويت والعصائد، بودينج، والخبز ومشتقات الألبان وأدوية الأطفال وأغذيتهم، والتي قد تضاف إلى الدقيق، فإنها حلال، مختلفة عن الدم في الاسم والخصائص والصفات، فليس لها حكم الدم. هذا ما ظهر عن ما صدر عن مجمع الفقه الإسلامي الدولي في حينها. The change of fatwa came in 2015. It reconsidered, okay, which says, regarding blood plasma mentioned in the aforementioned decision 198/21/4, which refers to the first one, the Council is considering revisiting the matter due to the availability of new data. The Secretariat of the Council will establish a committee comprising specialists in this field. It's a positive move that the International Islamic Fiqh Academy is revisiting a previous fatwa that has been taken based on science understanding at that time. These are comments from scientists about blood plasma in relation to istihala. Professor Jawad Al-Zir, he is a senior scientist at the Institute of Molecular Cancer Research in Zurich University, Switzerland. When we asked him about blood plasma, his statement came as, the entire chemical structure of a blood plasma are identical as blood. And the physical, chemical, and biological properties of a blood plasma are similar to blood. Therefore, blood plasma does not satisfy the requirements of istihala, where structural transformation is must. Professor Said Gouda, he is a professor of biochemistry and genetic engineering and honorary member of the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Southampton and senior scientific researcher in the anti-addiction laboratory in the state of Qatar, commented, removing the cellular components by a simple process, centrifugation, from the blood does not produce a new identity. It is still blood, but without cellular component or cellular components. Professor Rusli Rahman, he is the director of Halal Product Research Institute at the University of Putra, Malaysia at the time. When we asked him about blood plasma, he commented, I am in the opinion that the blood plasma is still not permissible. It is haram, as in the use of blood. This is because, in my opinion, istihala has not happened, as the process of separation is totally physical, and there is no chemical changes that has happened as required in the case of istihala. The conclusion that we come to about blood plasma in relation to istihala, we say blood plasma is separated physically from blood using centrifugation process. Istihala would not apply to blood plasma. What we say that in Arabic as a قاعدة فقهية الحكم على الشيء فرع عن تصوره. Jurisprudential rules, judgment on something is a branch of its perception. I start this in Arabic as much as I enjoy it and understand the meaning of it when I read it in Arabic. قوله تعالى in the Quran الكريم ولا تقف ما ليس لك به علم. سورة الإسراء. ويدخل في هذا كل من حكم على الشيء قبل معرفة ماهيته، يعني أن الأمر الذي لا تعلمه ولا تتصوره ولا تكون على بينة منه فإياك أن تتكلم فيه. Do not follow what you have no sure knowledge of. سورة الإسراء. This includes everyone who judges something before knowing its essence. It means that the matter that you do not I repeat that the matter that you do not know or imagine and you are not aware of it, so do not speak about it. والتصور قد يكون علما وقد لا يكون كالتصور الكاذب، فيكون التصور المقصود في هذه القاعدة هو التصور العلمي الدقيق عن هذا الشيء، لأن ذلك التصور هو الذي يضبط الذهن والفكر عن الخطأ إلى تحديد محكم وضبط علمي منهجي لحقيقة الشيء وماهيته. هكذا قال أبو البقاء الكفوي رحمه الله. Perception can either constitute knowledge or be akin to a mistaken belief. Thus, the aim of this principle is to establish a precise scientific understanding of the subject matter. This is because perception governs the mind and thinking process, preventing error, enabling accurate recognition, and facilitating systematic scientific verifications of the truth and fundamental nature of the subject. Istihala in the jurisprudence term means changing the nature of an impure, najis, or prohibited substance and transforming it into a different substance, both in terms of name and its properties and qualities. Is commonly referred to as complete chemical reaction in scientific terms. This can be exemplified by the way, this is the International Islamic Fiqh Academy in 2015 after it discussed the issue of istihala with with scientists from and Sharia scholars from different parts of the world. I have attended this meeting at the time and presented two papers, one on istihala and one on blood plasma, and I'm quoting from this conference. I repeat, istihala is jurisprudence terms means changing the nature of an impure najis or prohibited substance and transforming it into a different substance, both in terms of name and its properties and quantities, in common referred to as a complete chemical reaction in scientific terms. This can be exemplified by the conversion of oil and greases from various sources into soap, or decomposition of substances into its various components. Just as a chemical reaction occurs intentionally through scientific and chemical means, it also occurs in an imperceptible manner as described by jurists. Examples of such reactions include pickling and burning. However, if the chemical reaction is only partial, it is not considered transformation. It's not considered istihala. In the case of impure, the najis material, it remains in its original state and its usage is not permissible. And that exactly refers to the pigs that no matter what you want to make, and no matter what chemical reaction you want to go through, it still stays as najis. Our conclusion: a scientific understanding of istihala is essential in combating adulteration in halal food, pharmaceutical, and cosmetics. A scientific approach to istihala provides a systematic and evidence-based methods for evaluating the permissibility of substances, thereby safeguarding against adulteration and ensuring the integrity of halal products in an increasingly complex and globalized market. In the case of gelatin and blood plasma, the changes are not significant enough to justify the applicability of istihala. Any fatwa that permits the use of gelatin with raw material sourced from non-halal source based on istihala must be withdrawn and revised based on scientific information. Any fatwa that permits the use of blood plasma based on istihala must be withdrawn and revised considering scientific information. Thank you very much to everyone. Listen to this lecture. Tashakkur Idrim, and I hope to see you some other time. I repeat my big thank you to GİMDES for their activities in terms of dedication to the cause of halal. I thank again Dr. Hussain, Professor Hussain, for his dedication on promoting halal at different platforms, different way, and the teaching, promoting the teaching of halal. May Allah bless you all, and thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.